Chapter 2. Tess. I knock quietly on my mother's door before opening it. She's been suffering from migraines recently, which is why I've returned home to help her with the shop. Well, that and the fact that my life was in shambles in Dallas. Okay, not shambles exactly, but certainly not where I thought it would be. When I left after high school, I'd had big plans. Join a sorority, marry a doctor, maybe do some interior decorating on the side. And the first two had been easy. I joined the biggest sorority on campus, and that's where I met Doug. He was in the largest fraternity, and he had aspirations of becoming a plastic surgeon. That should have been my warning sign, but plastic surgeons make good money. So I'd continued to see him. We married shortly after college, and for a few years everything was great. But then he'd started pointing out areas he could fix on me. I've never had low self-esteem, but suddenly I was starting to. When I caught him with his 20-year-old receptionist, I knew I had to leave before he upgraded me for the latest model. Unfortunately, I hadn't applied myself as much in college as I could have, choosing instead to coast by with my charm and good looks. So finding a job was harder than I thought. Couple that with the fact that my well-known ex was very persuasive and very unhappy I'd filed for divorce, and finding a decent job became almost impossible. When my mother reached out to me and asked me to come home, my first response was a firm no. But after looking around my life, I realized the small town where I grew up couldn't be much worse than where I was currently. So I'd relented and returned home. The room is dark as I push open the door. My mother has the shades drawn tight, allowing very little light inside. She lays motionless in the bed, and for a moment I wonder if she is still breathing. "Mom, are you okay?" I'm careful to keep my voice low. Lights and sound are huge triggers for her recently. "Tess?" Her voice is barely above a whisper. I pick up her hand and squeeze it. "I'm here, Mom. Do you think you could get me some water and maybe a piece of toast? Don't you think you should eat more than just that, Mom?" I don't even know when she's last eaten a real meal. "No, just toast for now." "Okay, Mom." I try to keep the concern out of my voice, but this is not normal. When Mom had migraines when I was younger, she'd be out for a few hours, but never this long. And I never remember her skipping meals. Perhaps it's time she saw someone, and I know just who to call. Samuel. Worry builds as I continue my examination of Tess's mother. Migraines are a normal part of life, but not to the debilitating effect she is having them. My mind jumps to worst-case scenarios. Is it bad? Tess's normal haughtiness is gone, replaced with a nervous concern that makes her more beautiful than ever. I don't know yet. I'd like her to come to my clinic so I can perform a more thorough examination and run some tests. I try to keep my voice calm. There's no need to worry Tess more than she already is until I've run tests. Okay, can I drive her? I can drive you both. Does she have sunglasses? She'll probably need them, and maybe a cover for her head to block whatever light the glasses don't. Tess bites her lip for a second and then nods. Yeah, I think so. I'll be right back. After she dashes off, I pull out my cell phone and call my lead nurse. Jennifer, can you make sure the MRI machine is ready? And call the neurosurgeon at the nearest hospital. I'm going to want his opinion. I finish the call just as Tess returns. She holds a pair of glasses, headphones, and a scarf. Will these do? She asks, holding out her arms. They should do fine, I tell her, as we return to her mother's room. Tabitha, we're going to take you to my clinic for some further tests.
Tess has brought you some glasses and a scarf to help block as much of the light as possible, and headphones if the noise gets to be too much."
"Is this really necessary?" she asks in a quiet voice. "Mom, you've barely eaten in 3 days, and you haven't moved from this bed except to use the bathroom. I would say it is very necessary." Tess keeps her voice quiet, and I'm struck again by how soft and kind it is.
"I know this feels impossible right now, but I do believe you will feel better once we can determine what's wrong with you and get you some help,"
I add, hoping it will convince her enough to go along with us. She is so weak that I could carry her, but I always prefer to give patients the choice. "Fine." Resignation fills her voice, but she holds out her hands for the items and then allows us to help her sit up. It is a slow walk to the car, as she must stop every few feet to catch her breath. But finally we reach my vehicle. Her lack of energy and nausea weighs on me. I hope for Tess's sake that this is just a really bad migraine bout, but I'm doubting that is the case. After loading Tabitha in the back and making sure she is comfortable, Tess and I climb into the front seats. I have no words for her, but after I start the engine, I grab her hand and squeeze it lightly. She gives me a small smile. It's not much, but at least she knows I care.